Hey Benchmarks members, welcome to another update. This one is about the budget, which came out Monday evening very late and was heard in committee at the legislature on Tuesday. Tuesday was actually the first time it was heard in committee because this budget has not taken a path as normal budgets do, which goes through multiple committees. This actually was use of a conference report. If you don't know what that is, basically if a bill passes the House and the Senate, but the versions that pass each of the chambers are somewhat different. They appoint conferees who work out the differences between the two bills, and they come up with a conference report. The conference report is then either voted up or down. There's no amendments made to it. That's essentially what they've done with the budget. They took an existing bill, they took the conference report for it, and they stuck the budget in it, which means they presented the budget on Tuesday, but there's no additions or, changes or anything like that that can happen to the budget. This is the first time this has happened. It's caused quite a bit of ruckus. A lot of people upset about it, but that's how they're rolling. Anyway, that being said, they kind of knew, meaning the legislators who did the budget, that there might be some issues. So they had some money set aside for technical corrections. And we are already seeing some issues such as the suicide hotline for North Carolina was not funded. They are thinking that was an oversight and could potentially be fixed in the technical corrections. So all that being said, we have sent out to you a written update. There's also a link to the full budget, which is pretty big. We have just provided the highlights that we think that you're interested in, but if you have other things that you want to know more about, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're happy to talk with you about it. I'm going to go through the budget really quickly, and I'm just going to hit some highlights that I think will be important for you to know. First off, let me just say that there was a lot of disappointment. People were hoping that there would be waiver slots, IDD waiver slots. There were not. There were none that were added. Once again, we saw single stream funding cut to LME MCOs. It ended up being for this upcoming fiscal year, it was $36.4 million recurring, and then a one-time reduction of over $71 million. And this is the fourth year in a row that they've cut single stream funding. Now, again, if you're not familiar with this, the way they do it is the single stream money, meaning the state dollars for non-Medicaid eligibles, gets cut, but the LME MCO is directed to continue to provide services at the same level that they're doing now, meaning they have to keep the amount of single stream funding available, but they're doing it through their savings dollars. So their savings dollars are shrinking while they're supplanting that for the single stream funding that is being cut. And then that money that is being cut is being distributed in different places in the budget. So once again, that was cut. What was interesting is because of the ongoing single stream cuts, VIA had said, which was set to expand to create a facility-based crisis services in Wilkes County. They said, we can't do it. We were going to use our reserve dollars. Our single stream's been cut so much, we don't have the money to open it. So in this budget, they gave them $1.4 million. And they did it saying you can now build your building. But the problem is most of the folks who are going in for those facility crisis services are not Medicaid eligible. And so they're paid for through single stream dollars, which has been cut again. And what VIA is saying is, while this is great and that it can help them with the fiscal costs of the facility, how they're going to keep the services, pay for the services that are ongoing is going to be a problem because, again, the single stream money has been cut. So, we were really hoping to stem that tide. But once again, year 4, here we are, another single stream funding cut. There also was this very convoluted formula that was created that the intent is to determine if LME MCOs are solvent. And it's called the LME MCO Solvency Range Formula. So basically when the legislature kept saying that the LME MCOs had too much reserve money, the LME MCOs kept saying, most of this reserve money is spent, like it already has a project it's going to be used for, and some of it is money that we have to have in reserve for our solvency. Anyway, they kept saying, what is the right amount? So they came up with this formula, which is really quite confusing. And they have to meet certain requirements of how much they're spending, how much is in reserve. They have a whole series of things they have to follow. My understanding is the LME MCOs are not thrilled about it. Nobody's really sure how they came up with the formula, but You are welcome to look through that formula yourself. Interesting reading. There also was a $500,000 put in for traumatic brain injury. And obviously, any additional dollars for this is really good funding. We're glad to see that. Medicaid health choice provider risk level. This is a very big one for benchmarks. We worked on this for quite some time. Basically, what it does is if you are an IDD or behavioral health provider and you're nationally accredited, you are going from high risk to limited risk, which is low. If you are a CAVA, you're going from moderate risk to low. But everybody else is leaving that high risk level, they're dropping to low, which means you're going to have a lot less requirements around fingerprinting and some of the oversight, the visits, that sort of thing. It will be easier to move forward. In addition to the behavioral health and IDD nationally accredited agencies, we also got the licensed outpatient behavioral health providers down from high risk to limited too, which is really nice for those of you who have clinicians who know all the hoops you have to jump through to get one of them into your organization. So we're super excited that's in the budget. That is a major win, and we are happy to take it. Also, on the DSS side, there was some money for LIGHT, which is the Low Income Energy Assistant Program. There was $8.5 million that came through. This helps families with their heating bills, obviously very important, particularly in the mountains. Every year we run out of LIGHT money, so it's very hopeful that we've got some additional dollars to help struggling families. There was also $1.3 million added for adult guardianship. This is going to the local county DSSs to provide additional guardianship services. And there also was, there's always been a teen pregnancy prevention funding, and there's now an initiative. But in the initiative, they have earmarked $250,000 specifically for foster care youth, which is really exciting as well. In child care, North Carolina received from the federal government an additional $70 million with the intent to increase our state's pre-K early education, which is great. Like, we never get that kind of money from the federal government. Super excited about that. However, the legislature decided to take $50 million of that and to use it to supplant existing funding for pre-K. So they took $50 million out of the existing funding of pre-K to use in other places, and they supplanted the $50 million out of the 70 into that for pre-K services. So there was real excitement about all the things that could be done with the $70 million, but that is not going to happen. However, there was a child market rate increase, which is good. And there also was additional funds for the child care wait list, and the wait list is going to be reduced by 3,700 slots. So we will have a few more children who are going to be able to access child care. So good for that too. Also, the Child Advocacy Centers got an additional $1 million in funding, and they've been getting funding over the last few years. It's much needed. So obviously any funding we can make sure that they're able to secure is good money. Okay, so that's kind of a quick highlight of what all is happening. If you are interested in the council that is part of House Bill 630, that basically the social services reform bill, there's been some changes to the council. The council has also, this is a children's cabinet, just to be clear, it's called the Child Transformation Council, something else, but it is the children's cabinet. It has been moved to another section of the budget. They have put a 2-year time limit on it. It can be extended, but for right now, it will sunset in 2 years. The intent of this council is to look across the systems, child welfare, health care, juvenile justice, education, all the leadership comes together on this, and they're looking at gaps in the service. They're looking at gaps between their services. They're looking at ways that they can partner to be more effective and working together. And the whole idea is to try to drive whole health around children. One other thing I want to let you know is that House Bill 403, which is the Medicaid Transformation Bill, this is the bill that would allow the changes that the Secretary wants in order to move forward the 1115 waiver and to put out the RFPs for those. That has not yet passed. We expect, it's in a conference report, we expect that it is likely to come out next week. We know the House is signed, but the Senate is, we've been told they are, but they have not put it through yet. So hopefully that bill will move. My understanding is One of the major changes that will be included in that bill is that the number of statewide managed care companies who will be applying are going to go from 3 statewide managed care companies to 4 statewide managed companies. So we'll be keeping you up on that bill. Another bill that we're working on is House Bill 631, which is the streamlining bill that Benchmarks had introduced, and it passed the House. It got caught in rules in the Senate along with many, many other bills. We're hoping to knock that loose. That basically is around reducing administrative burden. We also are looking at the telemedicine bill and also the hospital's involuntary commitment bill. And the reason we're looking so closely at that one is Benchmarks had put a bill through that passed the House, again got caught in the Senate, but that particular bill was around allowing LPCs to do first level reviews of involuntary commitments. That moved and got to the Senate, but the large hospital involuntary commitment bill included the LPCs, and so they decided that we would move that particular LPC change forward in the larger bill, which had a lot more encompassing things in it than our very focused on a particular area bill. So we are watching that and making sure that we can get that moving so we can get our LPCs being able to do first level reviews, and that, of course, is going to increase access for care, which we really, really need around involuntary commitments because there's a lot of backlog for folks who are in need of an assessment. Okay, that all being said, we're going to wrap up. Hope everyone has a great week. And as always, if you have questions, give us a call. We're happy to talk with you. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.